Good morning. Just for those interested, we are streaming this meeting. This is the negotiations for the 24-25 school year between School District 25 and Pocatello Education Association. My name is Mary Ann McGrory. I'm the president of the Pocatello Education Association. And before we start, I'd like to do my usual pre-meeting speech, if you don't mind. It's a little different this year. It's one you haven't heard. I'm going to try. Over the last several years, the members of the PEA have worked diligently to establish a collaborative and collegial relationship with School District 25 leadership. Not to take anything away from previous PEA and district leadership and members, but this relationship has proven to be one of mutual respect. But today, one of our colleagues is missing from our table, and we must acknowledge that absence. More than that, we must acknowledge a life well lived. And so we would like to take a moment to silently reflect on the life and loss of Carl Smart. Oh, this is why I woke up at 2:30 in the morning.
You didn't prep me for that very well.
Although we sat across from each other during negotiations, many of us formed a friendship, and we would like to acknowledge his guiding of the district finances, often through some rough waters, and providing us with a stationary course. So if we could just take a short moment to reflect on Carl and his legacy. We know that Carl's office has been turned into the Buttercup Conference Room, and so we wanted to honor that and Carl with this. Okay, I called every flippin' nursery in Pocatello. There are such things as buttercup plants, but they apparently do not thrive in Idaho, so I could order some for like $50 a flat. So I did the best I could. So we have a little succulent. And then, of course, I couldn't even find artificial buttercups, but this is as close as I could get. So these aren't real, but this is. So we just wanted to have that, and that can go in his former office in the Buttercup Conference Room. In closing, we would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the leadership and guidance that has transpired through the last 2 years of traumatic events from district leadership personnel that has kept the district financially, this is the word I can't ever say, collegially and collaboratively afloat these past years. So that's the beginning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This is a good focus for sure.
Yeah, it is a good focus.
We all
And
talked about it this morning as well.
Yes.
So.
Well, you and I had talked too, and
yes, my chair over there is.
I kept, yeah.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
no. Welcome. Much appreciated.
So we have sort of a rotating team
That's what I understand.
this year, so I just have them come up and introduce themselves. And then as we get to each proposal that they will be talking about, they'll just come up and sit and then kind of answer questions and go back, if that
That's
works.
fine.
And kind of along those same lines, just real quick, just kind of housekeeping. If it's okay, of course, one of the things that Carl did is he would hand script the notes and then go back and type them. And so we're changing the game a little bit. And so Cheryl Urban is going to be doing our minutes. Is that
That's
fine with
fine.
you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And one of the other problems we had was locating Carl's ground rules. So we came up with, and these are the ground rules that are used around the state. So if you get the chance, take a look at those and let me know if you have any objection to those. Tried to go as basic, clean, simple, easy as possible. I'm sure there's numerous things from Carl that we will chuckle about as we're going through. That was one of them.
Yeah. Those-
Okay. I always like it when the first thing's agreed to. We've had a successful day then.
So you want to start since you're already up here?
I don't know if I can yell pretty loud. Michael Taylor, the treasurer for PEA.
Marcy Kerr, Pocatello High School.
Kristen Sluter, Wilcox.
Kelly Heil, Hawthorne Middle School.
So I've talked with Brenda a little bit that it's going to look like we have a lot of proposals. A lot of it is cleanup language, things of that nature. So, oh, and I didn't know, Sue, that you were going to be at the table, so I only made 3 copies.
Jonathan, I can share.
Okay,
Thank you.
so this is PA proposal number 1, and how we are going to present them is in the order as they appear in the negotiated agreement.
Okay.
With the exception of the salary schedule, that will be last, even though it's kind of out of order. So PEA proposal number 1 adds language to negotiated agreement 2.14, academic responsibility and instruction of potentially controversial matters. We would like to add the section that is underlined. This is, do you want me to read it out to everyone, or?
You don't
Okay.
have to read it out, but I'm sure we'll have,
Yeah.
we'll talk through like we always do.
Right.
And they'll get,
Because I hate being read to if I can read it myself, so. But this adds language that is already in policy. This is policy 3304. And it also addresses I don't want to say a mistake, but in the original language, it says policy 6405 provides a system to review complaints about instructional materials used in the classroom. That policy only addresses the media center. There is no policy that addresses complaints about instructional materials, although we do have several policies that address public complaints that could deal with materials and instruction. So what this would do would be to contractually enshrine into the negotiated agreement who is actually responsible to provide alternate educational materials when parents object to the use of or the participation, their students' participation in locally adopted curriculum. We had this issue come up this year. We had it both at the elementary and the secondary level. In fact, I was at a meeting and a director here asked to come talk to me about it, or to go talk to them about it, and said, well, we've had teachers telling their admins that it's the parents' responsibility, and we just don't know where you're getting that from. I said, well, I'm getting it from your own policy 3304. And it does not conflict with Idaho code, because the code just simply says that each district will establish a policy. So we have a policy, and we want to enshrine this policy into our negotiated agreement, because policies can be changed, as we all know, by the board simply reading it in public 3 times and voting. And this also would, it kind of further supports the first paragraph, or the first section, about the teaching of district curriculum and what some consider potentially controversial matters. And I would also like to say that we have been, this part of our negotiated agreement has been, I can't think of the word. Other districts have contacted us for this language because they were so impressed that we had it within our negotiated agreement. So this is proposal number 1. So
let me just ask a couple questions.
Sure.
From not being here. Okay, I get it. You've pulled this from 3304.
Word for word.
In the situations that happened this year, you said one elementary, or at least occurred at both elementary and secondary. I don't know
Right.
how many times, but whatever. Is there any concern about what alternative assignment the parent selects?
So the policy states that the administration would have the final decision as to whether that the parent's choice of alternate assignments would meet the standard and the
standards.
curriculum. Right.
All right. Feel free to go ahead to number 2.
All right, number 2.
You got a whole stack there.
I told you, it was gonna look a lot.
It's okay.
I was teasing him.
Thank you. Yeah, it's one line.
But we just believe that, you know, eventually I will be able to retire. And my big head will be out in front of Alameda, because we always do these pictures of the retirees. And everyone else will be able to retire. And so, you know, we have, as I said, we do have a great relationship. We can come and talk, and I can call Sue and say, you know, rah, rah, rah. But eventually all of us are gonna go. And so we want
That's what
the best negotiated agreement for everyone, so policy 2, or proposal 2 rather, is the use of email. This is in negotiated agreement 3.4. This is in the association's rights and privileges. We would just like to take out, this is the use of email. The association shall have the right to use district email system to communicate with district staff. In the past, obviously it was bargaining unit, but anyone who receives a paycheck from the school district can be a member of the PEA. Now, we only can negotiate for certificated members or certified members. However, over the past year, there has been a tremendous amount of information that the PEA has tried to share through just using the all district email. And several times those emails were not shared. They were gate-kept, and other times they were shared much later. One example was the wellness folder. So I put together a wellness folder that incorporates professional wellness, financial wellness, emotional wellness, and physical wellness. And it listed all the accessible things that staff members have through insurance, through our life insurance policy holders. And I shared that with the district. After I had vetted that information with both Brenda and Shauna Miller, and it was held for 3 days. And that was just information that benefited everyone. Twice we sent an email out to the whole staff. Once was about PEA open house, and they weren't sent. So we would just like to be able to send our emails to the entire district staff, and we don't send that many. I only had 3 that were to go to district staff this year, and one of those was the wellness folder. So,
Anybody have any questions? I thought that one was self-explanatory.
yeah. Okay. Number 3.
Thank you.
So PEA proposal number 3, again, is in the association rights and privileges section. This is 3.13. This is association involvement. We would like to strike, if the association has a matter they would like to present at a board meeting, discussion about such items shall be held during this meeting, including possible inclusion as a board agenda item. And we would like to add, the board shall place on the agenda of each regular board meeting the Pocatello Education Association for the purpose of bringing and/or addressing matters to the attention of the board in a public setting. Now, as this is one we presented last year, and again, this was common from 1980 to 2010, 2010 being when the Luna laws went into effect. We believe that this would allow for more transparency, would also help the public perception of what the PEA does, what the board does, how we work together. And most recently, at a board work session, I presented, there was a agenda item in which I presented information from the membership, not just from the membership, excuse me, from the district staff, because we sent it out to the district staff. And I asked the board members when I was done, I said, are there any questions? And the comment was made by several board members, we have questions and we would like to discuss this with you, but we're not allowed because you are here as a speaker instead of on the agenda. And so we believe that that would alleviate that. That would allow for public, transparent discussion between board members and the PEA leadership. And there was something else that just literally slipped out of my mind. But
I do
Yeah.
have a
Yeah,
question on this,
sure.
and it has to do with the open meeting laws. Now, asking to be placed on the agenda, would you want that to be a line item on the agenda that just says PEA report, or would you give more detail so that the transparency to our public, that they know what the general subject matter is
Yeah.
of your report?
So I view this as an opportunity to present to the board things that are happening within the school district that are phenomenal, that they may not always get to hear about, to bring up issues that they may not be able to, they may not know about, and also to address things that are on the agenda. So if that's a line item where the PEA just every meeting has an opportunity, or if I need to
Itemize.
share beforehand, I can do that as well. The problem with that one, though, is like at that board meeting, the board work session, so the agenda comes out on Friday, so I don't know what's on the agenda until Friday at 4, and so then I can only speak, do you know what I'm saying? So if I
I get what you're saying.
yeah, so I can say, I have these issues I'd like to bring to the board, but I wouldn't be able to say, we want to respond to this, because that would be on the same agenda.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Okay, yep. Any other questions, guys?
So,
Or first guest speaker?
Proposal 4 will be presented by Marcy Kerr.
Hello, Marcy.
Hi. So Proposal 4 deals with bereavement leave. And,
Oh, yeah,
pardon,
sorry.
yeah, pass. It's like, I have my copy.
Okay.
And separating the bereavement leave from sick leave or personal leave so that there's dedicated bereavement leave. It specifies that all teachers would be granted 5 days of bereavement leave for immediate family and 3 days of bereavement leave for extended family, and clarifies that that would be needed to be used within 2 weeks of the death of the family.
And this would be paid bereavement leave. It would not come out of sick leave or personal leave.
Okay. Do you know how many people would have qualified for this in the last year?
You know, one of the things that comes up about this is a lot of people, I think, just know that it comes out of their sick leave, so I guess I wouldn't know if
That's
they would
why
have used that.
I asked that question,
Yeah, but I would say that just phone calls, like if it were any different, I would say that I had, this year I would have easily 5.
Okay.
Do you want our rationale for that, or this is
Okay.
policy from 93, District 93 uses this policy.
It's also pretty industry standard. For example, at INL, most of the stuff that you do comes out of your sick leave, personal leave, but they do have an allocation set aside for bereavement leave in addition to that sick leave. I think there's a really good justification as well for we don't want to, personal days are precious and used for attending my daughter's wrestling matches, right?
Do you know, you said this policy came from District 93. Do you
Yes.
happen to know what District 93's sick leave and personal leave numbers are in comparison to our districts?
Do you mean like how many days
do-
they
yeah.
get?
Yeah.
10 days.
I might have that. I don't have that one per se, but I could find it. Yeah. But we had a new hire this year, brand new teacher. Her son died. She used all her sick days. Then she got very, very ill and used all her personal days. So she was one of those that had run out of days for her first year. And we've talked about bereavement in the past with, if you're a caretaker and then you're using sick leave for that, and then when they die, and so.
Any other questions, guys?
I do.
Okay.
What will happen with the unused days? So we don't use any days, you see that'll just not be used, it won't roll over, of course,
Right.
Oh,
unused days at the end of the school year.
for bereavement leave?
Correct, in your proposal here.
Yeah.
Yeah, these aren't things that like sit with us as an
Yeah.
employee. They're
Okay.
things that sit with you as a district.
Yeah.
So that,
Kind of like what I see jury duty as.
right.
You guys have to cover jury duty. You never know who's going to get called. We had 2 teachers called for the trial just recently about the murder of Nori Jones. And so that's kind of how we viewed it, as in that kind of pot of days.
Marcy, one other thing, when you looked at this for 91, did you happen to see how did they do that? Was there did they fill out a form? Do you know how they ask for bereavement days? How they contacted someone? I just want to know kind of the
It's
ins and
not,
outs.
it's not written in their policies. I would imagine that you would submit a form similar to your personal.
But you're not sure,
forms.
you didn't know, okay.
I know for my daughter, she just had to tell her principal, her admin.
Yeah, we lost an immediate family member this year, and my husband works at INL, and he just sent an email to his boss and to their HR person and said,
I was just curious.
my
I'd
grandfather's
reach out if
passed
there was
away.
something. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
They get 5 personal days and 10 sick days in District 93. Okay, thanks.
All right. That's 4.4. All right, let's go to number 5.
All right. Proposal number 5 deals with adding language to allow for paid military leave. This would be found under 4.51.62. What we are requesting is that a teacher who is granted military leave for up to 5 years, subject to the following requirements, that they would receive 15 paid days of leave for training, active duty, and you'll notice there that we define that this means service members, not just soldiers, because if you're familiar with language, soldiers means specific to one service underneath military code. So when we use service members, it means that we're covering National Guard, military reserve. The rationale behind this is, as of July 1st, a new bill goes into law, House Bill 580, which I would like to point out passed unanimously from both houses. And we do have the code there if you wanted to see that language.
So we're just changing, we're taking unpaid and making it paid, and we added the word annually.
Only 2 changes.
Correct. House Bill 580.
580, yep. It's one of those, they actually snuck a lot of bills in that nobody knew about.
That one came up, so I knew that one.
Yeah, that one I know. All right, thank you. Do you have any questions on that one? Number 6.
All right. So proposal number 6 is to add parental leave, paid parental leave. As you can see there, we are adding language or asking to add language that would provide 2 weeks that means 10 contract days of paid parental leave in connection with each qualifying birth, adoption, or foster of a child to both parental figures. The reason for leaving it as parental leave is this allows for either parent to take the time necessary for that qualifying birth or adoption or fostering of a child. Again, similar to our other proposal, this just brings our language into industry standards. Further, we've had 2 school districts out and around us, both Preston and American Falls, have added parental leave language to their negotiated agreements, and we feel that this encapsulates in our language the fact that we care about our families, and we want to make sure that our staff are taken care of regarding this.
Okay, I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
I'm sure they probably do too. Is it envisioned that this would be 10 paid days per year? Because I don't see where that's,
It's for each qualifying birth, adoption, or fostering.
so if you have a,
So you have foster care that goes in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out.
somebody takes 7 kids during a year, are we talking 70 days? And I'm just randomly grabbing that, please don't think.
That was my question, because foster is really difficult
Well,
because of the amount.
Yeah, so I guess in our minds, we weren't thinking of the emergency foster situation where you get a kid for 1 or 2 days. If you're going to foster them for a long-term period, and you need to build that relationship with that child.
One other question I had. The way this is written, I envision from the language that this would be available to both parent.
Correct.
So if the district has both spouses who work for the district, they would
Both.
be entitled to 20.
Correct.
Which is different than FMLA. Okay.
And then the other thing that we'd have to look at, Marianne, is I think about the sick leave bank and how the sick leave bank works, and for a mom, you know, of a newborn, and those first 10 days go unpaid, and then it kicks in on the sick bank. So the sick bank would really be, that would be a big difficulty that we would have to look at.
Think that through.
Yeah, we'd have to adjust that perhaps.
Yeah, I just wanted to
we-
put that in there,
yeah,
that we
we-
need to look at the sick bank.
Right.
And-
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask one more question,
Sure.
and if nobody knows the answer, that's totally acceptable. Do we know how many people would have qualified for this year?
I know of at least one person in my building alone.
We've
Off the
had,
top of my
I would say since I started just this past year, we've had more fathers who have taken either a
Getting together.
trimester off or have asked about leave. And it has always fallen under the sick bank, Amy, under the
No.
premise of,
No, fathers cannot use the
no,
sick bank.
let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
It's always fallen under the sick bank for the mom to be able
Yeah.
to use it
Right.
because it was
Okay.
based on the mom's physical health.
Yeah.
Right?
And so the fathers haven't had that.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Brenda, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Anybody else have any questions?
Thanks. All right, we're hopping right along.
We have been.
Number 7.
And as you had referenced, these are all language issues, so yeah. Some of them do have money tied to them, but
So, again, this is just a cleanup, and Sue and I talked about this year. We would just like that the record days that are already built into the contract days and into the negotiated agreement, we just want that language that they will be non-directed and uninterrupted. We've had some schools try to do meetings, IEP meetings on those days, and we just want it to be unequivocally, that is a work day for teachers to do grades, to grade papers and get those grade reports in. So policy, proposal, I keep saying policy, proposal number 8.
all right, Marcy's back.
I am. So proposal number 8 deals with high school parent-teacher conference hours. And the fact that not all of the high schools are utilizing parent-teacher conference, probably because most high school parents don't come to parent-teacher conference. So,
That's a whole other issue, isn't it?
right. So it changes from school to school what that looks like very often and how those hours are used. Some schools turn it into like professional development, other schools it's make phone calls and do your grades. And so how those are being used is not really consistent. And our proposal would be that if those are not utilized, that those hours could be used for things like, we did need to go this year and show up for registration. We did go to the election fair. Like, there are a lot of other things that the high schools do that aren't done at those other levels that would probably be a better use of teacher time and make it more consistent across the district.
Any questions? Any questions?
No, just making sure she's checking on her. Make sure she's able to keep up.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll give her copies.
And I have them. I can send them too.
Thanks, Marianne.
Thank you.
Okay, proposal number 9. See, we're just zipping right along.
Hello, everybody. Kate,
Yes, Stacy.
Oh, I hate to tell you, it'll take us longer to analyze and talk about these than it will to present them, but that's okay. You already knew that.
we get that. That's okay. Okay, so proposal number 9, we just want to add in the language that one elementary early release day per month will be set aside for undirected time for individual teacher preparation. And this is to help with our prep time. A lot of teachers aren't being able to get that in because of music and PE are our only prep times, and then library if we have it for half an hour. And those times are lost when those people are gone out of the building if we can't get a sub. So we just wanted to add that.
So are you saying in addition to the collaboration one,
Yes.
that one of them be,
Yeah, under.
so out of 4, one's collaboration with your team, one you want just yourself, just one-on-one time with you? And then
Yes.
the other 2, the other 2 would be the directed ones? I just want to make sure clarifying.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So we're not adding one, it's just, we are adding one.
We're taking one day that we already meet, that we already have on the calendar,
Right.
early release Monday, and just making it a 1 hour that the teachers can choose to work on their own, or if they want to work with their
Yeah.
team. But we've had, now, when elementary teachers take their students to the library in the past, they could just take them, but now they have to stay with them. And so they've lost that 30-minute time, along with an increase in IEP meetings, so they're not getting their uninterrupted
Yeah.
prep time during contract hours.
Yeah, just protected time.
So I guess just maybe a comment. I appreciate that clarification, because initially when you proposed this, I thought you were saying that we'd give you the entire early release day. Like, we'd get a sub for all the elementary.
Oh,
no.
no.
I mean, sure.
But that's
yes.
what the wording said.
Yes, we will take that, Jonathan.
What do I have to do?
You got it.
That's why I said, thank you for the clarification.
No.
I should not have clarified. I'm so sorry.
No, no, you're good. My bad. I needed a little comic relief, so anyway, so you're just talking that
Yeah.
1 hour. of
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So that's why, if we might clarify some of the language there.
Yeah.
Just saying that is the hour.
Stacy, I've been away for 5 years now, so I'm trying to remember how I worded or what happened those 4. Will you kind of step me through the 4?
Yeah, so it
Of a month?
depends. I know what it's contracted, and I know it definitely depends on the principal. And so sometimes during that time, we do PLC, we can do PD, we can do faculty meeting I've had IEP meetings. So honestly,
Would you
feel
say a
like-
lot of times that there's still the opportunity that they'll tell you that you can work in your room or work with your team, like I mean, I guess what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say is how many seemed pretty directed, just so I know, is this going to be a huge change or a little change?
I think.
It's going to depend on the
But
elementary
I was like, it depends
school.
on the building, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when I worked at one building, it was a different way than when I work at a different building, so,
Perfect.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Mine, and it's like 1 month out of the year, okay? But January, there's only 2 Mondays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if they're both designated in the negotiated agreement, you have no time for staff whatsoever between December, February.
That's true.
So.
Well, no time for
There's no early
PD,
release.
but,
There'd be no time for PD because you have both of
Right.
them for that. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So that's the only 1 month I'm like,
We'd have
that
to-
might be a,
Because December,
yeah,
half
December.
the month is gone,
Yeah,
and
December, you
January.
only have
okay.
2 also,
January and
some months, some years.
Okay.
So that's the only one that's like,
Well, I
Okay,
just
we
know
can-
that in my building, I have a lot of teachers who are showing up at like 6 a.m. and not
Oh,
leaving
yeah.
until 5 p.m.
oh, yeah.
And so this would just really help with them to be more with their family and to have time for that instead of being out of contract hours doing their work.
Great,
Trying to
thanks,
find dedicated time.
Yeah.
to do work.
Yes.
and we've talked with AJ about this, and we know that barring getting subs for everyone on one Monday a month, or adding a dedicated PE teacher, or music teacher to each school, there's not much more to build that prep time in for the elementary teachers.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh,
No, yeah, absolutely.
because
I was
Totally
just
get
like
it.
doing
So
that.
Totally get
yeah.
it.
No, that's a good
y'all know
thought.
how I feel about elementary kids. So
Perfect.
I know they're your babies. They're my hives.
So much.
Hives. Thanks.
Okay, number 10.
Number 10. We've got,
Different guest,
yes.
plural. Which article is number 10?
Number 10 deals,
Is that a good guess?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so proposal number 10, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Goes under 6.2.3, other stipends. And psychologists will receive a stipend equivalent to 5% of their cell placement. Speech language pathologists will receive a stipend equivalent to 10% of their cell placement. We would like to add, special education teachers will receive a stipend equivalent to 7.5% of their cell placement. This stipend will be paid over the same 12-month period as the employee's regular contract. The rationale would be the additional of this stipend for special education teachers would act as a compensation for hard-to-fill positions, physical abuse from students, parent difficulties, as well as the numerous IEP meetings, manifestation determination meetings, etc. Some special education teachers are not getting their prep or lunch hours. Additionally, SPED teachers are held to a higher standard of state and federal special education law. The burden will also be greater for special education teachers as the Federal Office of Special Education Programs, or OSEP, discovered that Idaho's criteria for evaluating students with SLD, or specific learning disability, was more stringent than federal law. Because of the higher bar, students were for years denied services or placed in the wrong categories, such as other health impairment. With this determination, the new Idaho SPED manual and documentations are being developed that will have to be implemented and taught to be in compliance with federal law.
I'm going to ask, since I'm not here all the time, how many special ed teachers do we have on staff?
66 between elementary and high school, tentatively.
That's fair, tentatively?
Yes, 29 elementaries.
Okay.
Did you guys
then-
get this one too?
37
No,
high schools.
that's-
Okay.
no, that's yours.
I know, I was
Oh,
just
okay.
And I'll ask, and it's okay if the answer is no, have you done any calculation as to a ballpark of what that
Yes.
costs?
yes.
Knowing Mary Ann, I knew you would have. Yeah,
Do you want the number?
feel free.
Okay, $286,397.
And is that based on their current cell placement?
That's
Like
based on-
24
yeah.
Or 23, 24 cell placement?
Right, and the current people that are in there, knowing that we have some who've retired, some are moving, some are leaving, some are, we have coming in,
Yep,
so.
so current employees, or as of the school year, okay.
So that is 2.38% of the fund balance. Do I do that one?
Just the 2.38% is what
Okay.
just to give you some dollars to work with of what we've calculated.
Okay. And I'm betting she has the next one too.
No?
No?
Did you have anything you wanted to add, Michelle? Because Michelle's also been a sped teacher and
I've been a lot of things. I
she's
think,
done.
I think this will be great, because, you know, we have these stipends for these hard-to-fill positions, and I'm sure you've dealt with the hiring, and we've had to get qualified staff, and we're losing our qualified staff because of the things that they have to go through. And I'm hoping that this is one way that we can incentivize other teachers to apply for our district and keep them in our district, letting them know, hey, we appreciate, we see what you're doing, we know that it's more than just a classroom teacher, the workload, and we appreciate it, and here's one way that we're letting you know.
Thank you.
So. You're up.
Okay, that was number 10.
Number 11.
Number 11. Is that the last one? or
This
do we-
is
I
it.
thought it would, when it looked like a salary schedule, I figured it was. Okay.
Is that everything that I should have printed?
Thank you. Okay.
Here, I actually have an extra copy of that.
I think I can figure it out by the yellow across the top, can't I?
I'm hoping you can read.
Okay, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
All right.
So this is just, as you can see across the top, it would be 2025 salary schedules, a one step plus the 3%. Do I need to closer so you can hear me? Yeah. Okay. So this would be a one step plus the 3% that we're asking for per position, per block, per cell, thank you. I couldn't think of the word for some reason. So all the numbers there for you. New money is 2.1 million for a full change of cost of 5.11% per cell.
Now, that percentage change of cost, is that just, because the last statistic you gave me was for the special ed, that was 2.38%, and that was 2.38% of the,
Of current,
of the,
of 23, 24. That doesn't have it in this. Because we don't want to present those numbers based off of what the future could hold. We wanted it based off of what is actually in place.
and I appreciate that. No, I get your point. Okay. Go ahead, John.
So can we talk movement? Are you proposing movement as well?
One step.
One step is the, okay.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah,
movement.
your other graph with the movement on, as we
Okay.
go with their over,
Thanks,
again, that's
thank you. I
another,
just wanted to-
because that's a 12-year process, remember, as we started in that
Sure, sure.
discussion, so,
Okay.
yep.
Thank you.
Make it clean and simple as much as possible.
Okay, based on 660.5, index of 9 to 12. Any other questions, guys?
Nope, I'm good.
You're good? You've given me 11 comprehensive proposals, so it's gonna take a little bit of time for us to review.
Some of them are big, I'd say a good,
Do you have any proposals for us?
Do not.
oh, good.
Oh. Okay.
So, other than obviously the language as it was, but we always handle it that way, so, yeah, I'm not gonna kill a bunch of trees, sliding the whole prior agreement across the table.
What time do you think?
I think we need an hour. Let's take an hour, and if I need more time, we'll text. I know where to find you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Super,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks, guys.